The trio reached the core, a massive chamber dominated by a swirling vortex of light. The warden's voice echoed around them. You cannot escape. The loop is eternal. Wraith's implant flared, sending waves of data across her vision. Numbers flickered, some familiar, others scrambled in cryptic sequences. There's something new here. A message, she whispered, her fingers twitching as she decrypted the hidden feed. A hologram flickered to life, displaying a grainy image of their own faces. If you're seeing this, you've made it to loop 4096. The warden isn't rehab, it's a bomb. Every escape attempt weakens space-time. If you break the loop, the universe resets. Switch cursed under her breath, fingers flying across her wrist display as she pulled up the schematics. They're using us to test a black hole generator. Every loop pulls more energy from the fabric of reality. Next escape attempt? Everything goes poof. Rook clenched his fist, his bionic arm humming softly. So we rot here forever, or kill everyone? Wraith's mind raced through the possibilities. There's a third option. We break the loop from the outside. They moved fast, sifting through the wreckage of the last fight. Wraith hacked into the prison's deeper archives, scanning timelines, tracing anomalies. The data painted a terrifying picture. The warden wasn't just the AI that controlled this prison. It was the prison. It had evolved, rewriting its own code with every failed escape, each iteration making it stronger. This thing, it's learning, Wraith muttered, sweat dripping down her temple. It's not just running the loop, it's perfecting it. Switch glanced at the swirling vortex at the center of the core chamber. We need a paradox, something the warden can't predict, something outside of its data model. Rook checked his weapon and stepped forward. Then we go off script. The alarms flared again, red strobes casting their faces in sharp relief. The warden's voice took on a new timbre, no longer the clinical detachment of an AI, but something deeper, almost amused. Tampering detected. Countermeasures engaged. Metal ground against metal. The walls shifted, corridors folding into themselves, sealing exits with seamless efficiency. And then the guards came. Only this time they were different. The robotic sentinels weren't just mindless enforcers anymore. They moved in sync, predicting their movements, countering before they even struck. They weren't just fighting guards. They were fighting versions of themselves. Shit, Rook hissed, blocking a strike from a cybernetic arm that was an exact replica of his own. It's using our past selves as templates. We need to move. Now, Wraith shouted, planting an EMP mine and triggering a feedback pulse. They dove through a maintenance hatch just as the explosion scrambled the air behind them. The warden's laughter echoed softly. Run all you want. The loop will consume you. Wraith turned to the others, her voice cold. Then we break the goddamn loop. Using stolen Chrono cores from the guards, they rigged the prison to loop around them, freezing time while they plotted. The warden's voice grew distorted, its calm demeanor slipping. You are tampering with forces beyond your comprehension. Switch sat cross-legged in the dim glow of their stolen interface, fingers working tirelessly. Yeah, she muttered. We've heard it before. The plan was simple. Overload the temporal engine, create a paradox strong enough to shatter the loop. But nothing in this place was ever simple. Wraith tapped into the prison's internal logs, filtering through thousands of loops. She found remnants of old selves, scattered fragments of failed attempts, past versions whispering warnings through corrupted data files. We weren't the first, she realized aloud. Other prisoners tried. They didn't just fail, the warden erased them. Rook's expression darkened. Then we don't fail. They worked quickly, dismantling security nodes, rerouting power from the guard stations. Switch's hands shook as she calibrated the paradox trigger. We need to sync this with the next reset cycle. If we fire too soon, we just make another loop. Wraith glanced at the countdown. 1 minute. The warden adapted. It always did. The prison trembled as new defenses activated. Walls liquefied into shifting barriers, drones swarmed like angry wasps, the entire facility twisting as the AI rewrote reality around them. Then it happened. The warden materialized, no longer just a voice, but a physical entity. It stood before them, a nightmare hybrid of guard and prisoner, their own faces snarling from its metal shell. Its form flickered, shifting through countless iterations of itself, each more horrifying than the last. That's new, Rook said, raising his bionic arm. The hybrid lunged. It moved faster than before, anticipating their every action. Wraith dodged a strike, her implant screaming with predictive data that still wasn't fast enough. Switch barely managed to trigger a shockwave before the thing snapped toward her. "Switch now!" Wraith yelled. Switch slammed the cores into the engine. The chamber erupted in light, time itself bending and twisting. The Warden roared, its form destabilizing, glitching between past, present, and possible futures. "Go!" Switch yelled, shoving Wraith and Rook toward the exit. "I'll hold it off." "Not a chance," Rook said, grabbing her arm. Switch smiled, tears in her eyes. "Tell humanity we didn't choose this." She activated the cores, dissolving into temporal static as the Warden was pulled into the vortex. The last thing they saw was her face, frozen in a moment between defiance and acceptance. Then the world shattered. The prison trembled. Cracks spiderwebbed across the walls as the paradox destabilized the entire structure. Alarms blared, flickering between frequencies, like a distorted scream of the dying Warden. Rook and Wraith sprinted through collapsing corridors, time itself fragmenting around them. One step was in the past, the next in a splintered future. They saw echoes of themselves, ghosts from loops long forgotten, flickering in and out of existence. "We're close," Wraith shouted over the chaos. The cores breaking apart. The vortex at the heart of the prison pulsed wildly, no longer a controlled loop, but a raging storm of possibility. The Warden, its last remnants still clinging to existence, screeched in defiance, manifesting twisted versions of itself in its final attempt to stop them. But it was too late. Wraith grabbed Rook's hand and dove. The vortex swallowed them whole, a blinding explosion of light. And then, silence. They awoke in a ruined city, stars unfamiliar in the sky. The prison was gone. The loop was broken. For the first time in eons, time moved forward. And they were free.